Okay, so one of the first things we're going to do in our Common App is we are going to go to the little button that's right here that says Common App. And it's going to take us to our profile section. And the first thing we are going to do is we're going to fill out the profile. Part of it will be pre-filled out for you, given the information you utilize to create your account. Some of it won't be. A lot of it is very straightforward, but there are some twists and turns that sometimes confuse individuals, so please feel free to follow along or skip to the part that you need if you have any questions while working on this. So, right, we've got our first name, we've got our last name. If you have a middle name, feel free to put that in there as well. If you have a preferred name, same thing. If you've ever used any other names, please indicate so. By that, most of the time we mean on like really official documents. Or anything that you're going to reference in your college application. Like if you were referred to using a different name on something else, this would be the time to speak up about that. You can indicate your assigned sex. If you would like the opportunity, the Common App invites you to share more about your gender identity below. Your date of birth should already be in there, and we're going to continue on to our address, which also should be saved. Okay, there it is. But some individuals, right, we don't all receive mail at the same address that we live at, our permanent home address, so we can sometimes add an alternate mailing address if necessary. If we don't have one, we're just going to click no. If we do, obviously, we are going to click that other button and fill that out from there. We're going to continue on to contact details. I love the little check mark. It's great for keeping track, right? So it's like, oh yeah, we're done here, we're done here. Okay, so once again, our number is going to be in there. We're going to click if it's our home phone or our mobile phone. Once again, if you don't have one, we'll have already figured that out by now. If you have an alternative phone that you want to list, I'm not really sure. In most cases, we don't list a secondary phone, but once again, if you don't have a consistent number and perhaps you want one of the counselors to also have access to help you with the Common App, we also can list a number for you there if your number switches a lot. So we're going to continue. Dun, dun, dun. Demographics. Okay, if you have a religious preference, feel free to list it here. You can search it up, it'll start to pop in. We click it up. Your U.S. Armed Force status. So if you currently serving, most of us are not, probably previously served or current. If you are a dependent, right? If your parent or guardian is currently serving, that's what it's referencing right there. Are you Hispanic or Latino/Latina/Latinx? So please, if you do feel comfortable, you should be able to self-identify in this part, yes or no. And then it says, regardless of your answer to the prior question, please indicate how you would identify yourself. You may select one or more. So these appear to be racial categories of some sort, ethnic categories of some sort. We've got American Indian or Alaska Native, Asian, Black or African American, Native Hawaiian or a Pacific Islander, white. So whatever category you feel you identify with, please do identify in this portion of the application. However, I do know from my past experience with students that there are plenty of people who do not feel like they fit into any of these categories. Particularly a lot of the Latinx students I've worked with in the past don't feel like this encapsulates any of their identities. So they answer the question up here, but they do not actually answer the question over here. Once again, this is a very individualized thing to fill out, but if you do feel like you identify with one of these categories, please do identify yourself, and if you don't, then do not. It says the questions in this section will be helpful to colleges. They're entirely optional. You're welcome to move on without answering them. Before you do, please confirm for us you've completed the section to your satisfaction. So when you are done answering the demographic questions, we're going to just check it off so we can get our green check at the top and continue on. Geography, your birth country, region, or territory. So it's going to be right here. City of birth, right here in the Bronx, represent. Okay. State or province. Number of years you have lived in the United States. Once again, you know the answer to this question, most likely. If not, feel free to inquire with your parents or guardians. The number of years you have lived outside of the United States. Once again, if you know that information, great. If you need to inquire, that's totally fine. We're moving on to the language section. The number of languages you are proficient in. So what that's referring to, right, is are there any other languages you feel really, really comfortable in, right? Can you read, write, speak in, or for the most part, read, write, and speak in, right? We all have different levels of proficiency and comfort with different languages, but, if you speak German at home with your parents, but you don't maybe read it or write it, you can still, if you're carrying on a conversation, you still feel proficient in it. This is the time and space that you can definitely sort of list that skill, or this is the first space we're going to have the opportunity to do that in. So select the language, first language, and once again, it sort of goes into a little bit more detail once we open it up here. So this is my first language. I speak it, I read it, I write it. It's spoken at home. Select a language. Standard German. It's not my first language, but it's spoken at home, and perhaps I also read it and speak it, but maybe I don't write in it, so I'm not going to list that there.